guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and today we're going to talk about one of the most exciting new Porsches. All right, so the car obviously is the 718 Porsche GTS 4.0. So there's been a lot of controversy on the 718 cars having the four-cylinder turbocharged engine, and Porsche listened to the customers. They're bringing back that flat six. I'll get into all the details in a second, and this is really exciting for car enthusiasts. Remember, if you like Porsches or like cars in general, consider subscribing to the channel. I've personally owned over 100 cars, and we've reviewed now 630 cars on this channel. So one-stop shopping, just type in Glenn's Car Collection in the search box, the car that you're looking for, and I'm sure I've done a review of it. Remember to like and share this video so our channel can grow, and subscribe and hit the notification bell for all the latest car news and reviews. And leave a comment below. I read all the comments. I don't have somebody else doing social media for you. So when you leave a comment, I respond to it. It's actually me responding to it. All right, so let's talk about this great car and what makes it so great. But first, I think we need to do a little history. So a lot of people don't like the 718 because of the four-cylinder. They love that glorious sound of the Porsche six-cylinder engines. So let's learn a little history first. You probably know this already, but the 718 were Porsche's race cars that were built in the late 50s to early 60s. I think 1962 was the last year. And they used four-cylinder flat four engines, and they were the 718s. And that's why these cars are the 718s and, of course, have the four-cylinder engine. So Porsche was doing flat four engines before Subaru does. I think Subaru put that in maybe around 1965, give or take a year. So Subarus actually sound like Porsches. It's not Porsches that sound like Subarus. So that's where that nomenclature comes from. I think the Cayman S is one of the best cars you can buy. So let's do a little quick history on the Cayman S and how we got here, and then we can appreciate the significance of going back to the flat six. So the Cayman S here debuted in model year in the United States, debuted in model year 2006. The first generation, known as the 987.1, was 2006 to 2008. I had a 2008 Cayman S, and it's probably one of my favorite cars I ever had. My first Porsche was a 996 C4S. I loved it. I prefer mid-engine even to rear engine. Rear engine is great. There's a learning curve with it, and after owning the C4S for 6 years, it took a year or two really to learn that rear bias feel and how to drive the car. And once you master that, there's nothing better than driving 911, except when you could drive a mid-engine Porsche. So I sold it for a Cayman S. So I went from a 2002 996 C4S to an '08 Cayman S, and that's probably, I liked it better. Mid-engine, it was more modern. The sound was, even though the C4S sounded good with the rear engine, the mid-engine Cayman S sounded even better. The engine's right behind your head. And that was a phenomenal car. In '09, they went to the 987.2. That went for '09 to 2012 model years. 2012, it culminated with the Cayman R, which was a one-year only model. And you could get a six-speed manual transmission, or in the S models, or a PDK for the first time in '09. So they sold very few manuals. So those cars, if you look at the resale values, you probably can't even find in '09 to 2012 for stick. You'll find a couple Cayman Rs that people still want $60,000 for. The 06 to '08 is probably around $25,000, maybe as low as $19,000, as high as $30,000, depending on the mileage. Get a good PPI, because some of those early cars do have some issues. The '09s, though, I never had any issues with my '08. The '09s to 2012, so '09 is when the economy tanked, the end of '08, '09. They sold very few cars in '09, and most of the cars they did sell was PDK. So if you want a manual, I dare you to find a manual for sale between '09 and 2012. There's probably one or two in the United States. That's how rare those cars are. There was no 2013 model year just for the new Boxster. The new Cayman, known as the 981, came out in model year 2014, and that's a glorious car. It's a little heavier and bigger than the 987s, but more powerful, more performance, and a little more of a GT car. Those cars, though they weren't really considered raw when they came out, are definitely more raw to the 981. And you can see my 981 Cayman S review right here, and I love driving that car. If I was able to buy it, I would have bought one. That's how good that car is. I would buy either 987s or 981s. That's how good those cars are. And then the new ones, so that lasted from 2014 to 2016. 2016 was the GTS became available. So the GTS gives you the black wheels, and it gives you a lowered suspension. You get the PASM standard, the Sport Chrono standard, and the Sport Exhaust standard, and a few other things. But those are the three big things. So when you option on an S, my 2008 S had PASM and Sport Chrono, and I put on my own exhaust, a Borla. But Very few S's are equipped with that. They're equipped with like painted vents and stupid luxury options, but they should all be equipped with PASM, Sport Chrono, and the Sport Exhaust. And if you have those three things, plus, in my opinion, the manual transmission, it's excellent. Now, PDK, again, came out with 2014, again, 2013 in the Boxer model years. And the PDK is very good, much better than it was in the 987.2. I love the 981. I think it's one of the best bargains out there. 981 cars, like a 2014 with lower mileage, probably runs you around 50,000, 48 to 50. The GTSs, though, in 2016, because before this new car was announced, the last GTS, 2016, really hold their value. They're up there. They're like in the $60,000 dollar range. They're actually more than some 718 S's. So the 718 S's are depreciating big time, and even the 718 GTSs, but the last normally aspirated up to this point, the 2016 off the 981 version, is actually really holding its value. Now that's going to change, I think, with this car. I think they're going to finally drop because a lot of people didn't like the turbocharged motor. So just a couple weeks ago, I walked into the Porsche dealer talking to my friend who's a salesman there, and they were offering brand new GTSs, 718 GTSs, for $20,000 off sticker, brand new cars. So I think this sticker had $98,000. They offered to me $78,000. It was tempting, but I already knew that the GTS was coming out with the flat six, the 4.0, and that's obviously going to kill the value of the 718 GTS, the first gen, and that's why obviously they were offering me such good value. Up to a couple weeks ago, there were 718 S's in the from Porsche, certified pre-owned, where you get a 2-year full warranty, high 60s, low 50s, and all those cars disappeared. So I don't know if they wholesale them or just anybody made an offer. They sold them because I think everybody knew this announcement was coming. So what makes this significant now, the biggest complaint, so I've driven the 718S on the racetrack, and I didn't film it. I just went to one of those Porsche events, and it was phenomenal. It handles better because you have not a lot of 911 parts on it now. It handles way better. The chassis to die for. It's probably one of the best, next to like a Lotus Evora 400. It's probably one of the best handling cars I've ever driven. So it's better than the 981. It's better than 987. I think it looks better than those cars. The only downside of the car, and it's not really a deal breaker to me, is the sound of that 4-cylinder engine. Now, it doesn't sound bad, but the 6-cylinder normally aspirated engine just sounded so good. So if you weren't necessarily a car person, or you're more obsessed with 0 to 60 times, you would probably like the 718 turbocharged 4 better than the flat 6, because the flat 6 wasn't as fast. So the original Caymans, the 987s, the first gen, like I had, probably 5.3 seconds to 60. The 981s were probably about 4.7 seconds to 60. And then the 718s, which are really 982s, but the 718s, they were about 3.9 seconds to 60. So we've gotten much faster there, and we finally have a fast Cayman. So the only downside of those cars were the sound. And I've driven it back to back with a 911 flat 6, and you do notice the difference. You certainly do. But they're a performance bargain, especially if you can get them used. I don't think I would pay $98,000 new for one of those cars, and I don't think you necessarily need the GTS if you can find those options on an S model. But I've seen S's at Porsche dealers for 60. So why not get one of those and you have a fantastic driving car? Now, unfortunately, those 4-cylinder models I think are going to drop in the tank. They may actually go below the 981 6s, the normally aspirated 6s, because of this new GTS model coming out. So this is going to give us just under 400 horsepower. It's going to have the 4.0 from the 718 GT4 and Boxster Spider, but it's going to be a slightly detuned version of that. So expect probably 20 horsepower less. You'll have a 6-speed manual, unlike that clunky 7-speed in the new 911s. You have a 6-speed manual, and or of course, the PDK transmission, but please get it with the 6-speed manual. It is that good. Now, pricing. The last gen of the GTS, so let's call it the 718.1 GTS that still had the 4-cylinder turbocharged motor, they started at $80,000. You know, you're going to add Porsche options. You're going to spend $90 or $100. So there's a rumor that this new 718 GTS, the 4.0, will be around $90,000. I think that's where it's going to start. So somebody else is saying it could be as low as 80. I don't think so, because the last one with the 4-cylinder was 80. So expect probably high 80s to 90. Maybe we'll get lucky. It'll be like 85 or something. But I think we just rounded up to 90. So the GTS models will have the black wheels, which I love. They'll be standard with the Sport exhaust, the Sport Corona, the PASM. So you really don't have to do anything. You could add all kinds of interior stuff. You can add the Bose or the Burmeister stereo. You can add the extra cost colors. But you can really just get like a no options manual GTS. That's probably what I would get. Maybe just pick my favorite color. I'll take Miami blue because it looks good with the black wheels. But so I think, though, even though it starts at 90, realistically, most of these cars are going to hit the showroom floor for at least 110,000. Then you're going to pay sales tax. You're going to be into it for 120. So that's fantastic that they did this. That's awesome. But, you know, you're still going to have some competition. Slightly used Carrera T's are 85 to 90,000 now. You're going to have the 4-cylinder GTSs at the original ones. You're going to have those at, if they were in the 70s, they're going to probably drop to the 60s for sure. The other 4-cylinder S's will probably drop into the 50s. Maybe we'll even see them at 49,000. And then it'll be interesting to see what happens with the 981 GTSs because they've been holding at about $60,000 more than the 718Ss because that was the last naturally aspirated GTS. And there was only one model year, obviously 2016, so there's not a lot of them. But obviously I think those are going to go down. You know, they'll settle maybe in the 40, 50 range because of this new GTS. So this is really exciting. So what's really exciting here, besides having that flat six back, is Porsche listened to their customers. So when they took away the manual transmission on the 991.1 GT3s, Porsche listened and they brought it back. So here, people didn't like the 4-cylinder and against just the sound, and they brought back the flat six to our GTS model. So how great is that? I actually prefer the mid-engine cars, the Cayman S's over the 911s. And if you want a convertible, get a Boxster. Everything I said applies to the Boxster GTS and the Boxster models. But my favorite, you know, money, no object, I'd have a 991.2 GT3 manual, money, no object. But where money is an object, my first choice would be the Cayman S, any one of those models, whether it's a 987, 981, 718, 718 GTS 4.0. I just think the mid-engine cars handle so much better than the rear-engine 911. Now, even with the rear engine, the 991 and the 992, they actually lengthen the car and push the engine a little more towards the middle. So even though it's still a rear-engine car, it's getting closer and closer to mid-engine. They have the back seat there, so they probably can't make a true mid-engine. But so that's why the new 992 handles so well. That's why the 991.2 handles so well, because they're trying to almost convert, almost make it to as a Cayman or a Boxster with the engine displacement. But I say buy a Cayman S or a Boxster if you want the convertible and never look back. Thanks again for watching, guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. You're going to get all the updates on the 718 GTS. Hopefully we'll have a car that we can do a review on. So hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates on it. Like and share this video so our channel can grow. And leave your thoughts about the Cayman and the Boxster below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.